Well, we have another one. This time, a longtime employee of Wizards of the Coast, sentenced to 7 years for unspeakable acts with a minor. I'm going to let the article kind of timeline things out for you because it's pretty crazy. And there's been more than one case or time when I was reading through this and discussing the research with Lou Calgiovanni, the man behind all this research, that I had to take my tinfoil hat off and try to give the benefit of the doubt. Now, you will have to be the judge of whether or not you think certain people involved might have known about this or not, but let's get into it. When I was doing my original line of research, I actually came across this gentleman, Carl Crook. He had been a head Magic the Gathering judge and indicted on some terrible stuff. Here we see Carl working, I think, a Magic event here. All the previous articles. Now, let's set the stage. Remember, Elaine Chase on January 2nd said, recently misinformation circulated on social media regarding Wizards policy, event staffing, and Magic judges. Safety at Magic events is our top priority. We have a zero-tolerance policy for sex offenders. Elaine Chase. That's an interesting hot take. Why am I quoting Elaine Chase? You'll see. Or why MTG Judge Program issued another statement linked here, anonymously no less, in a similar manner. The recent attacks on social media were an attempt to paint current members of the Judge Program as criminals in an attempt to embarrass Wizards of the Coast. I don't think I had to try very hard. To incite panic and create controversy. The former judges named in public as pedophiles were all decertified as soon as the program learned about their crimes. We know this is, of course, a lie. Some were no longer active judges when this happened. That was probably true. We see Carl Crook, Managing Director and CEO at Hazam Games in the United Kingdom. So folks in the United Kingdom, if you go here, know what you're dealing with. Again, do not, before I go through this, as always, please do not contact this person. I would say politely, you could be asking Elaine Chase and Mark Rosewater how he knows him, as well as Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro Corporate. I think this is now well into the epidemic status, but let's not attack a man who has done his time for his crime, regardless of how heinous it is. It only makes us look like the monster. We see he was the UK operations manager for Wizards of the Coast from 1995 to 2002. He's a former level 4 judge and former game store owner. He also happens to be a pedophile who was convicted in 2014 of 13 of the most heinous crimes imaginable. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison for the following. You can read this. By the way, this child was under 13. And the actual crimes here, we can see everything's been archived, of course, because we know how Wizards likes to scrub things. But we have everything here. Okay. During his trial, he admitted to 4 counts of taking pictures with the victim in 2010. Blah, blah, blah. You can read through that. In his heyday, he was considered to be one of the best. That's why he was the head judge of the entire London Pro Tour 1999 to 2000. There's something Elaine Chase would prefer, however, that you do not know that occurred during his time of Crook's crimes. By the way, this is when he was an active predator. Elaine Chase and Carl Crook judged side by side for one of the most prestigious MTG titles of all time, deciding who would be inducted into 2005 Hall of Fame. Luckily, Carl had completed and chatted with Elaine Chase about his favorite picks to induct while simultaneously picking his teeth. Yikes. Okay. Before Elaine married Kieran Chase, her name was Elaine Ferraro. For example, we have a look back to 1999 San Diego Grand Prix. Wotc staffers, Kieran Chase and Elaine. Now married. Good for them. Happy for them. Well, golly. Guess who else was there as 1999? Mr. Personality himself, Carl Crook. He's smiling because he knows, damn it, Lou, you're still savage. Here he is. Note the location. Uh, dang, Carl. I'm not gonna. Or Lou. Elaine Chase and Carl Cook had a tight bond of friendship, and so did Elaine Chase's husband, Kieran Chase. In 2001, guess who's sitting here plotting and scheming in London? Kieran Chase and, of course, Carl Cook. The significance of this picture cannot be stressed enough. Kieran Chase was the program manager for all Wotc and Hasbro card games. Carl Cook, the operations manager for one of the largest MTG markets outside of the United States. These two were buddies, worked closely together for years. They crafted policies which impacted millions of players. Kieran Chase would go on to become one of the most powerful and influential men at Wizards of the Coast before retiring in 2015, passing the reins to his wife, who obviously was not the benefactor in any form of nepotism. Okay? We see his. Are you beginning to see why Elaine Chase, a former judge, has been fighting tooth and nail to prevent this information from coming to public light for dissemination? If it is one thing the good people at Wotc and Judge Program impress upon the public is they alone will decide who gets a free ride. There are others who would prefer their friendship with a convicted sex offender be kept quiet. How about Mark Rosewater, head designer of Wizards of the Coast for the last 15 years. Before Rosewater was placed in his current position, he was a judge. As stated above, Carl Cook was the head judge of London Pro Tour, and look who's there with him, none other than Mark Rosewater. Side by side, embracing one another. Okay? No. Sure. His torturous sex crime committed between 2003 to 2008. Do you know what Carl also did in 2003? He qualified for the MTG English Nationals. He qualified again in 2006. That means Cook was playing a lot of tournaments during the years in which he committed the crimes, which isn't to say he didn't commit other crimes or that other victims didn't exist. It's very likely Cook laid to waste numerous victims. We simply know of the crimes he was convicted. But I'd rather every dollar in my pocket, I'd bet every dollar in my pocket versus every dollar in yours that there are other victims. I would agree with that. We can see he's played 104 in between January 2011 through 2013. He played 104. By the way, this is after, right? His favorite locations, Axion Comics and Cards and Hemel Games Club. That's a fair amount of Magic, I would say. However, the 104 games of Magic played by Crooks over the 3 years pales in comparison to the amount of Ascension, a variation of MTG he played online. In total, from 2011 to 2014, Carl Crooks played an astonishing 2,619 games, series hours. What's the difference in how many games he played? The difference is the locations in which Crooks chose to play. Starting in November 2013, he began playing Ascension while at middle and elementary schools. Starting out, Crooks played 2 games at Level Grove Elementary School in Cornelia, Georgia. He began accelerating his pattern as soon as playing much around children. You can see all these games playing at an elementary school. In total, he played 44 games of Ascension in school and around children. He probably showed them how to play, rubbed their backs, encouraged them to sign up and play as well. Perhaps they could play together online as online MTG buddies. This is how the grooming behavior starts. Why did he suddenly stop playing in schools after November? Well, because he was arrested and shipped off to prison for 7 years. However, Carl Cooks is no longer incarcerated. We can track his last login to the day, last day after Valentine's Day, February 15th, 2018. Who knows if he'll log back in or head down to his favorite school and start showing the children how to play Magic the Gathering. Perhaps he will look up old friends Elaine and Kieran Chase or Mark Rosewater to see about setting up a tournament. Why not, of course? Because at the time, Carl Cooks, of course, is not on the DCI ban list. But what happened, Elaine Chase, to your zero tolerance policy? I personally do not find it even close to believable that you don't know about Carl Cooks and that your husband doesn't know about him. You might be able to give Mark Rosewater some plausible deniability, but again, if somebody in my company were arrested for this sort of crime, I would know about it. People would be talking. There's no doubt that a former head judge would have made waves inside of Wizards of the Coast and the judge community, and yet nobody took the time to ban this man. Basically right now, The smiling face you see below could be sitting across the table from a child at any tournament he likes around the world. Detcon Maria Morrissey of the Thames Valley Police Pedophile Online Investigation Team described Crook as, quote, extremely dangerous and predatory pedophile. Worry not, though, as one of Carl's friends on LinkedIn recommendation says, when kids hang around Carl, they have a great time. If only there were some sort of system to have in place preventing people from getting new DCI numbers if they would appear on this, or at the very minimum, anything at all stopping Carl Crook from becoming a judge. But as it stands right now, there's of course no policy, something that everybody on the inside of Wizards of the Coast seemingly has fought tooth and nail against, smearing my name as some sort of Pizzagate conspiracy theorist. And here we go, just another dangerous predator inside the Magic the Gathering Judge program, not currently DCI banned, and yet I'm the crazy one. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to be notified the next time I upload a video, make sure you subscribe and take a moment to turn on notifications. If you want to support the cause of this channel, it survives because of the amazing generosity of those that choose to back me on Maker Support. The link is in the description, and hopefully you'll consider backing today.